Okay, good question. It's from New Mexico. Um, Two of a student's five teachers informed students verbally that classes were being recorded. Is it legal for a school to record classes being held via Google Meet? Do parents have to be notified and or provide consent? Now, every school year, most school systems, I don't know of any that I work in that don't do this, provide an entire packet of things for parents to sign. And you may have signed something at enrollment that's sort of a blanket consent for things like recording because the schools, majority of schools already record in common areas, hallways, outside, PE, things of that nature. And so they do provide notice that they are going to be recording your children at school because parents sign that. Sometimes it's a notice inside the student code of conduct or the parent handbook or the student handbook that does explain those things. And usually there's something at the end that says, I acknowledge that I read the student handbook, or the parent that you have to acknowledge that you read it. And then within that, there's the fine print with regards to their ability to record. So I think in this situation, that would hold true because the classes are being held, and I can see where some schools would want the Google Meet classrooms to be recorded in order to safeguard the teacher and in order to monitor instruction. Because the instruction is an extension of I mean, it's an extension of the school. And yes, the instruction is happening inside of your home, um, and or to where they are sort of invading your space, to where whatever is behind your like every day. I mean, if you guys watch my videos, you've been invited into part of my home. You know that James Galini has the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence right behind him. Okay, so those kind of things, yes, they're there, but at the same time, I am. You'd have to go back. Unless I had more definitive information, I would be able to sort of guide you through whether or not proper consent was provided or requested. Um, before the school year started. And it could have been in the form of an email, as far as a notice. It could have been in the student handbook or the parent handbook that you signed. Um, if not, then yes, that would be a concern with regards to them recording your child. And, if I were you, if you have concerns about that, then yes, I would send an email to your principal and ask whether you gave consent for that, and to point to you um, where you would have seen that. Okay, and at that point, that would answer your question whether it was done properly or not. But by and large, as I said, it is sort of a staple now. That they do provide you notice that they will be recording your child, um, in common areas, and you give consent for that. Um, Parents do all the time because I have parents call me and say, "Oh, well, did you sign the thing at the beginning of school?" Well, yeah, I did. Well, did you read it? And look, James Galini is not perfect because do I read the Facebook fine print of all the horrible things that they do with regards to tracking me and selling my information and understanding all of my purchasing habits and what I like. Um, do I think it's ridiculous that when I speak out loud and talk to my wife about a vacation that, next time I look at my smartphone, I get an ad for that particular location? Guys, we've allowed a lot of technology into our lives that listen to us, monitor us. It doesn't make it right. I'm a big advocate for private privacy, big advocate for privacy, and I think that this country's gone too far on infringing upon that. So I think that's a great question, but that's what you would need to do is ask and inquire as to where uh, um, uh, this consent was requested and to point to you where you did consent and that you have concerns. And also ask for the purpose. What is the purpose of the recordings? And would it become part of your child's education record since your child is on the recording? Okay, because FERPA requires, and it has no problem with video recording of your child. Okay, that wouldn't be included in FERPA, which is the Federal Education Protection, Records Act. Federal Education Protection Records Act. Okay. Records Protection Act. There you go. See, I'm not that smart, guys. I just pretend to be sometimes. And I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn, so even under that, if it's personally identifiable to your child, then it technically would be an education record. So that's another good inquiry as to whether that Google Meet session is going to be added to your child's record, because they may not think about it and they may not even consider that as something that they need to do. Okay? All right.